Yo, yo. Holy cow, Mr. Jim is on a rampage. Poor guy. I'm going to also open up on the second screen the Discord VIP chat room or live chat questions in case your messages aren't showing up. Yeah, it's possible we just got that double bottom. It happens sometimes, but like in my most recent post for everybody, the whole community, I mentioned personally I wouldn't try taking on leverage trades until the daily 10 and 21 are kind of smashed towards each other, so it's a little bit more stable. I don't know if right now, Bitcoin's going to do something it's never done before. That would really suck if it did, if it doesn't get back above its weekly 10 for a bit. Which would mean I'm stuck in a few trades anticipating a peak above, like my dash. I would like to be able to get but we'll see how that works. But in terms of a month or 2 month long trade, as long as you buy sort of low and then within those 5 weeks sell sort of high, you're okay. It's just a bummer if you can't do a lot of trades. But in this down market, you shouldn't expect to do a ton of trades unless you anticipated this becoming a perfectly horizontal zone. Bitcoin does not do that. I never would have guessed Bitcoin was going to make this exact just a trading zone like this. It's very rare. It would have been easy to play had I anticipated it, but I would have guessed higher lows or lower lows, but not straight across like this. I don't think I can find a time where it ever did that exactly. See, it does it when it gets smashed down, but it doesn't do it in a volatile. It doesn't do it. Wrong thing. It doesn't do it in a volatile way like this. See, it'll trade sideways when it's all smushed, but it's not smushed right now. And usually the volatile moments are lower highs. Or the other way, they'll be lower lows volatile, right? Let's see how big this range was. I guess this was kind of sideways up and down. That's a 14% range. But typically when you hit the bottom and the top this many times, that means the more times one of these is hit, the more likely one of them will break on the next one. Since this is getting such a good bounce, if this retest, that could be the time it breaks up. But it also, this could be the time it breaks down. All right, so what's the percent? I'm pretty sure this is bigger than a 15% range. Yeah, this is a huge range. Yeah, this is a... Bitcoin's acting really strangely. But the good thing is my ribbons gave me a heads up that, the trade that I was looking to do to sell above the daily 21, it gave me warning signs that I voiced in a couple of the most recent trading journals. It really indicated, hey man, it's going to try lower. So hopefully folks saw that. I stressed that you watched that. Even the 1 minute long-term ribbons was saying, hey man, this is going to go down first. It was saying it pretty clearly. and so was the 3-minute long-term ribbons as well. Actually, it wasn't there, was it? It was up. Yeah, up here. Where was this? No, it was even before. Over here, yeah. So when I made that video, it was somewhere about here. And I said, uh-oh, it looks like it's going to come down. Or I said it here. I said, if it's going to fail 2 more times, I'll get out. And I think that might have been it right there when I had made that video over the early weekend. Or it might have been the one before. But regardless, this doesn't look good. So I've noticed a few things in the charts where the ribbons gave me a really good heads up that I was looking to be in the wrong trade. That's why I only allowed myself to get stopped out twice. And I said, you know what? I'll wait until this a different pattern happens. That's not so volatile and or not so volatile, unpredictable. Because I like to be in. So once I realized that, even though I thought I had an edge, that it wasn't working out, I just stopped. So those are the times where you know that personally, no trade is the best trade. And then I made that post about I'm going to wait till the daily 10 and 21 are up against each other. But there's something I've noticed, though, in terms of recovery. Typically, when Bitcoin is going down and you use the 1 hour, let's say short ribbons, for whatever reason, the bounce that is going to see the recovery is the one where the price gets over. I think I'm sharing. Am I sharing my screen? Let me see if I'm sharing my damn screen right. Yeah, I am. It's the 1 hour bounce that gets Bitcoin not this far into its ribbons, but all the way up. And in those cases, it often stays there, but then you wait until till the Stokes go all the way down, and if it can close still within the ribbons, or just keeps going like this, it's going to stay up. So you can see that this bounce got all the way up in one shot as the 1 hour Stokes got to the top, and that is when you have a greater chance that that bounce is going to stick for a while. Let me show you another one. So so you knew that this wasn't the bottom when it only came here, and it did not get to the top of the ribbon. It needed the next one. So it's usually when the 1 hour gets to the top of the ribbon is when you know it's going to come. Here's another example. I've learned a lot about these ribbons. Like they gave me so many signs that my trade was the wrong trade, and I should start paying. It's kind of like Krown and his Jewel. He guesses against the Jewel all the time, and I think his Jewel has a perfect record, or maybe one time his opinion versus the Jewel came out, and so I guess I was battling my ribbons, kind of like he battles his Jewel and looks back on the fact that the Jewel was right. So these ribbons, I mean, they got it right better than a 100% historical trade. It's kind of impressive, and I'm glad, even though I was on the wrong side of the trade on that time, I'm really glad I saw those heads up and decided to stay out and provided that heads up. So, and I do apologize. There was somebody, a VIP, who said he was taking on a short trade, and I said, hey man, this has happened 100% of the time in the past. I think that's not wise or foolish or whatever, and he was right. So I apologize to that person. I don't know who it was. I could probably look it back up, but I definitely apologize. That was the right trade to be in, and I said something totally to the contrary. So my apologies to that VIP member. Let me see what kind of questions you got. Yeah, I went golfing for the first time in 3 years on Father's Day, and now my back is on fire. Oh my gosh, my back never used to hurt like that. All right. I really don't know. I'm going to, right now, it's not for sure whether or not this was the second low, the matchups. So a lot of times on a macro low, Bitcoin tests it twice. It actually has happened on all macro lows. So in 2019, it took almost a year for that to happen. it took almost a year for the macro low to be tested twice, and you had a low here, and then almost a year, and then it retested. It made a slightly higher low, but it got almost to the same level. I mean, it was like $800 off, which on a percentage base is still kind of big, but I think it got within 20% of it. And so here it actually nailed it exactly. And I think in the previous bear market, it did it exactly. So you see this? So this is kind of what Bitcoin just did, which if it is going to recover, it happening so quickly will actually allow it to recover quickly, which is indicative of the overall thought that I think Bitcoin could move in waves. So therefore, each of these sections are shorter than all those bear markets prior. And if it is going to be shorter, then it would have to double bottom more quickly, which it looks like it just did. However, right now, I'm going to wait to take on any positions with leverage until I see, I feel that I have an edge on something. Right now, I would like to see it, at least come up to the top of the range and decide what to do from there. If I see it getting weak with my ribbons up here, I'll probably short it. Or if I see a lower high come up here and the ribbons, like the 1 minute and 3 minute long-term ribbons, which is kind of like looking at the 2 hour and 4 hour charts. Essentially, if you take price off, it's equivalent to a 2 hour chart. I will also probably short it there. However, to long it, I want to wait for a higher low, which Bitcoin did have on the daily chart. I mean, it was a really probable trade, and it just totally broke the frick down. And it's never done that before. So with the daily, so it's kind of interesting how I had been letting everybody know that even when you have a 90% probable trade and it doesn't go that way, the next time that situation happens, I would still take that probable trade unless the charts were telling me to reassess my probabilities. I still think, how many times has it done this in Bitcoin history? I don't know. Is it like 7 times? So it's 6 for 7. So it's still a pretty probable trade. But it is possible, though, that now that a lot of the buy and sell pressure are from institutions, I might not be able to, it might be unwise to be comparing all previous Bitcoin to current Bitcoin. You might not be able to. It's possible that even though it did have a 100% rate, that was based off of retailers and miners selling and the constant buy-in pressures changing from there. And now because that might not be what's going on, it might be unfair to use previous price action as a historical basis. That's kind of what it's looking like, because, something happened for the first time in 12 years that, I don't know, it's kind of a warning sign. However, there's one good thing about the volume profile that I've been seeing. So what I wanted to do in this VIP session is, besides, answer questions, and I can go longer if you want, I want to let you know all the signs that I saw within my ribbons showing me that, oh gosh, the trade that you're looking to go after is, it looks like it's going to be wrong. I saw a lot of the warning signs, and I voiced, I think, 2 of them in those trading journals, even though I wanted to try it one more time, and I did try it twice. I wanted to go over those, because I learned a lot by staring at the ribbons as the ribbons were telling me, dude, you're going to be wrong. Dude, you're going to be wrong. And so I want to go over those with you in this live chat. And of course, again, when I was occupied this morning, that's when this happened, but I wasn't at my computer. This morning I was dealing with my lawnmower still. I had to mow my lawn with my neighbor's mower, and I really had to get some stuff going. So I was away from my computer this morning when this happened, so I apologize. But that would make it twice. So yeah, I'm going to take some of your questions and go over all the different things within the ribbons mixed with RSI that I've been seeing, so you can, so you can have that info as well. Because I learned a lot, because it was literally saying, dude, you're wrong. Well, I mean, getting out of altcoins, So compared to all previous price history, which I just said I might not be able to use anymore, it's looking like that. I try to sell my altcoins when Bitcoin does get back above the 10 EMA. It's not a question of if it'll get back above the 10 EMA, but it is a question of when. But when is still very important, because what if it comes all the way down here and then comes above, and you could have sold, but it just gave no warning sign. It came below and stayed below. And also, Bitcoin has never done that once ever in the history of it has never done this. So that is still my answer when Bitcoin rallies above its weekly 10 and perhaps 21 at the same time. But then again, that analysis is based off 12 years of price history, which it almost seems like those 12 years I shouldn't be using. So what I did with MTV is I saw it spiking, so I started putting in limit sells, and I got rid of over half of my remaining MTV because it had kept kicking me out. So here's the second answer to that really good question. So if your altcoin starts popping, let me remove some of these. There we go. So I saw MTV popping, and the daily short-term ribbons kind of look like they might flip. Let's go over this, and I'm on a live call right now.
I don't get it.
Hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so let me I'll get to the volume thing here, but there is something really good happening on the volume profile that indicates this could be that was the dip that was needed. But anyway, of your altcoins, one of the best answers I could give you is if you see your altcoin popping, perhaps try to sell some on its way up and limit sell, try to limit sell before it gets up higher. So I was trying to get rid of, some on spikes up when it was above its 4-hour short-term ribbon. Specifically, that's what I was using. So if you see your coins getting strong above the 4-hour ribbon and the 4-hour ribbon ends up flipping, you might try selling some when it's way above, then start putting in limit sells even higher and seeing what you can get. That might be a pretty good strategy on the 4-hour short-term ribbon. But as of now, I don't know how much altcoins are going to be popping. But Bpro's even down even farther now. I really don't know if there's a fantastic answer because Bitcoin's doing something it's never done before. It's hard to tell the difference between exchange manipulation and whale manipulation because exchanges are whales. So if you had an analysis tool that showed from where the volume is coming, then that would be about the only way. But I don't know how accurate those tools are. Yeah, I mean, it really looks like the pressure's down, folks. I mean, if you look at the daily short-term ribbons, even though you did have a higher low here, and it kind of looked like it wanted to make a second higher low than bounce up, it doesn't look that fantastic. So if there could be a higher low made, which would probably be mixed with a higher high, what's probably going to happen is it's going to turn into a compression phase. Similar to that last post I made, I want to wait until the daily 10 and 21 are writing each other and stable, and so you'll get a compression phase if it ends up behaving that way. So I would guess that because 2019 was when Bitcoin started behaving a little differently, and it might end up doing something similar to where it did here and here. Might be what we're heading into, and I would rather wait for this type of moment and seeing a higher low, even though you might have a lower low too, but higher low and lower low, typically that's a compression phase, and you're usually good to go. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for here. And it might take a few weeks. All right. Yeah, I still have the same game plan. When Bitcoin gets above its daily 200, alts will have rallied by then. And then if Bitcoin keeps rallying into the deeper 40s, I will still get rid of even more alts at that time, almost exactly to plan. And if I revise that plan and lower the targets just a little bit, since Bitcoin took a dip first, it'll drag things down, a lot of the indicators, then it should be okay. Then I would let everybody know where I'm personally going to try doing that. But in the meantime, if you see something popping like MTV and you hold MTV, or Bepro flies to like 0.008 or something, that might be an okay time to do that as well. So the question I'm referring to was, altcoins and when to get rid of them. Since Bitcoin never gave a chance to do it, it just came down and stayed down. It's kind of, yeah, it's acting. It's never done this before, folks. So I'm given a couple of options there. Perhaps use your 4-hour long-term ribbons. Yes. So Mushroom says this right here. Can you go over the ribbon flip prediction? No, the ribbons actually didn't. I don't know if that prediction went. I think the ribbons were telling me my prediction was wrong. I don't think the ribbon prediction went wrong. The ribbons were about ready to get over the gray line, and it never did. And I think I said in that moment, it almost looks like it's going to fail. But then again, it's Bitcoin's never failed to get above its daily 200 EMA. So I will show you that moment. I believe, was it the 1 hour short term or midterm ribbons? It was not. It might have been like the 3-minute long term ribbons. Yeah, here. So when I caught this bottom, some of it, I actually took along some here, some there, and I got the rest there. And I was making a follow-up video or trading journal on it. I let you know, yeah, this was the moment. On the 3-minute long-term ribbons, I said whenever the ribbons get fully above the gray line, that's when you can predict the move will continue for quite a while. But in that same video, I said it kind of looks like it's going to fail. And I said I kind of doubt it'll fail, but at the time, it was not getting fully above. Price was coming back in here, and it ended up failing. So this like the 3-minute long-term ribbons and 1-minute long-term ribbons gave all the warning signs in the world that, you know, the trade I was trying to enter was not going to work out, and, you know, getting out of the trade and some profit there would have been a good idea. But I just got stopped out in small profits is what I ended up doing there, because I wasn't able to stay at my computer all weekend to do this, so I just put my stops in profit around that time. So yeah, that was the moment. So you can see here that the ribbons on the 3-minute long term have, look, even the last little failure here at 40K, when Bitcoin got rejected by its daily 200, or maybe it was up here. Nope, that was up here. I apologize. So the ribbons got above, the 3-minute long-term ribbons got above and rechecked, and then it stayed above, and the move continued for quite some time. And then, which ribbons was I referring to in that moment, though? Might be the 1 hour. So in the 1 hour, though, when the 1 hour long-term ribbons get above, that's when the move appears to stay sustained for a long time. So the 1 hour long-term ribbons, they ended up failing there when Bitcoin was getting rejected by its daily 200. And had they gotten above, the chance of a sustained move for several days, if not 2 weeks at a time, would have been very probable, but it never got above, similar to, you know, how it was failing in both of these areas. So the red never got above, so this isn't a true recheck. And then they did get above here, but the recheck failed. So that's why I always do like waiting for that recheck to add on to the rest of a trade. It's because a lot of times it ends up just failing. However, whenever you get it completely above and a recheck, I mean, look how long the move is sustained. So it gets above, recheck, and the move is sustained for weeks. So these 1 hour long-term ribbons, you know, look how long these moves are sustained when it gets above. I mean, this is going back into last year. So I wouldn't say that there's going to be, you know, I think this might be the chart I use, the 1 hour long-term ribbons, to try to know that, hey, which high or low should I buy, with the idea that it's going to be a long sustained move, instead of the higher low we recently had around here when Bitcoin failed 40K. And I would use this chart. That's my indicator. And when it does do this and gets above, that's when Bitcoin will start likely going above its weekly 10 EMA, and you'll know then that the point of getting out of your alts is coming soon. But it's giving a try lower, and we'll see how this reaction. So I guess that's the warning sign that actually got it right. It didn't get it wrong. It actually got it right. It was warning me that the trade I was trying to enter was going to be wrong. But I was thinking at the time, since it's such a high probable trade, it'll just go like this, wiggle around, and then get back up. But it sure as hell did. All right, volume profile. I don't know what the best is for the volume profile. But here's some good news, though. All right, well, I guess my wife's having issues right now. Maybe, or no, that's my kids coming out. Okay. She was having problems inside the kids. So maybe go to the 2 hour chart. So you can see here that there is a ton of volume right here in this 30, mid low 30 range. And typically when you do this and you get such a more obvious base of support, that's often the base needed to continue higher, but you usually have to build up a big base on the volume profile, similar to Bitcoin's roughly 7 to 10K range. And if you go out here, you'll see that 10K also had a, we might have to go to the 4 hour to do this. So you see how much bigger 10Ks was relative to everything else, how much support it lent here. So this volume profile stick around 8 to 10K was way bigger than everything relative at that time, and it took over a year for that to happen because it went on a 1.5-year bull run, and it took a long time to build that base. With this shorter bull run, all things would be relative, within a smaller price action. And you can see here that relative to this general area of Bitcoin, this level has really hit out a lot of support. And so it is possible that this is going to be the range for a little bit. Or I mean, actually, it's kind of likely now that it's just going to keep building and building and building this foundation before a potential continued move up. But right now, though, I don't know if Bitcoin's going to try to fill out an even bigger range, like down in the 20s. It's possible it tries to build a base way down here. So I'm just going to keep using the shorter, or the long-term ribbons on small time frames to see whenever, these ribbons are going to get above the gray line. But right now, it's just failing over and over. If you long when price goes above the 1 minute 200, so EMA 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, above the white line. Okay, above the white line, so built support with that would have worked. Here, it would not have worked. It would have gotten you out of the trade immediately. Here, so it came above the 1 minute 200 a few times, and you had 1, 2, 3 false ones. And then when you saw it base just under, that's when it took off. That would have been a good trade. If you have stop set, or if you wait until it finds a support around there, or let's go like this. I think if you did that after you saw it build a support around there, that might be an okay time to do that, or just under it. So, I mean, here it kind of looked like it was forming a support, but it broke it. Let's see here. Here it was forming a support just under it, but it failed it. So, I mean, I don't know how well that would have worked out. I mean, it's been using this as a try point, but it's been failing it. So I don't know how well that would have worked out. Yeah, I really don't know the answer to that. I don't think that would have worked out extremely well, because it failed it too many times as well. Like I said, this is a choppy, brutal, market, and it is not following any price action statistical, patterns from 2017. And really, the ribbons have been getting it right, and the RSI has been getting it right, because the change in behavior, it's not changing the RSI. So the RSI is still behaving the same, but a lot of the candle shapes along with the EMAs are not in the posturings. I mean, Bitcoin's behaving like a different animal. So in my behavioralist approach of trading, I'm at the point now where I think Bitcoin is simply going to behave totally differently. So previous behavior is not going to give me much of an edge here unless it's based on ribbons and RSI. Okay, that could work, because even though the behavior overall on the candle and EMAs are changing, the behavior on RSI and and the ribbons seem to be getting it right. For example, Bitcoin not getting above the weekly 10 EMA. The EMA is simply price relative to EMA specifically. It's behaving totally differently. It has never done this before, right? The daily 200, whenever you have the 10 and 21 relatively close to price and the slope on them is positive, it has. All right, well, I gotta go. My wife's having problems with some kids.